is an ability to say, let's test, iterate, test, iterate, test, iterate. And that's what we did. We put a lot of stuff up. I mean, again, manageable, play to the strengths, all that stuff. But we saw what they were capable of doing. And we started to see what was generating the results. And the beautiful thing is by the time we hit February, we started to hit the first harvest. Actually, speaking of getting emotional, I got a tear in my eye when Russell called me. Because Allison Dawson, who got this program, who started to sponsor it, when she reached out to me in September, she said the same thing. She's like, look, I know our current marketing is not working. I don't know what to do. Can you develop something? And I said, yes, but you're basically rolling the dice because all I've got now is theory. She's like, that's fine. Russell called me in February, and I could call Allison. I'm like, dude, this thing's going to work. He called me up and he said one of his was actual blog. I let him do it, sorry Matt, but whatever. And he calls me and goes, Jeremy, you're not going to believe what just happened. Within 15 minutes of posting to my blog the top 10 reasons why why customers should go to Convergence. Does everyone know what Convergence is? No. So Convergence is sort of the big annual Microsoft Dynamics customer conference where they bring people together and put on the monster hard sell. Close rate of Convergence is 80%. So if you get someone there, your odds of closing are pretty darn high. The customers, his clients who've been reading this blog, because he's sort of been promoting it and putting up valuable stuff, they call him up. 2 different customers within 15 minutes said, Russell, we've been getting all this stuff from Microsoft about why we should go to Convergence. And we just ignored it. You just put this up, and we both are convinced. And this is 2 separate people. We're going. I was like, yes, I cannot believe this. This is actually working. Matt, meanwhile, had started his video blog, and if you're friends with him on Facebook or LinkedIn, whatever, you'll see the guy does this once a week. It's become like a mini cult, maybe we're at the major cult hit now, not quite. Mini cult hit part, where he, once a week, and fortunately, I was honored to be a guest, 2 times, actually, 4-minute videos. What's SharePoint? What is this? What are these technologies? Whatever it is, simple stuff. But again, his network of clients and prospects and regular people trust Matt for his knowledge about technology. And in 4 minutes, he explains all of these new concepts to them. So they're not going to these influencers. They're looking at Matt's video, which he shares out once a week. He talks to people internally. He talks to people externally. He's like a talk show host, which is what he wants to be anyway, because he's not passionate about it. And he's sharing something.
If anyone wants to be a guest, talk to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have my agent call you.
And you also, the same thing. I think there was one time Matt called. I don't remember exactly what it was, but Matt called me and said, Jeremy, you're not gonna believe this. One of my customers just emailed or called me and said, when's the next video coming out? Like, when that happens, that's a good sign, right? Your customers are asking for information, marketing material from you. So we kind of went through boot camp. We built the blueprints. We heads down execution. We got that for our first harvest. And we finally got to the ROI baby part of the session. On average, and let me take a step back. As opposed to a typical marketing campaign, which has a start and a stop, this is a marketing, I don't even want to call it a campaign. It's a marketing DNA transplant that keeps paying dividends long after the actual effort, the actual program is over. Right? I'm done working with these guys, and they now have these habits that they are continuing to leverage. But by the time I had to give Allison and Microsoft okay, here's what you got for your efforts. On average, these guys had gotten $60,000 of net new revenue, and they averaged about $90,000 of net new pipeline. And that was just when I drew the line in the sand. And oh, by the way, Microsoft was thrilled. $200,000 in net new Dynamics sales and just under $400,000 in net new Dynamics pipe from all the partners in the program. So, Mo and Matt, I usually am happy to just talk about the marketing stuff and let the sale be implied, but Mo and Matt said, you know what, Jeremy, can you spell it out for everybody? And I said, we're friends here, why not? And you guys are going to ask the question anyway. So, they said, look, if someone wanted to do this, what would be involved and what happens? So I hate bullet points, have you noticed, but some people really like them. So I figured I'd give you one slide with the bullet points to kind of read about when all is said and done. I'm going to be doing this program again. And if you want to participate, here's basically what you're going to walk away with. All right, everyone's done. So, here's my little reveal. Now your question is, okay, how much does it cost, right? Karen's thinking that right now. I'm in, I like it. Certainly for $1, you're in. For $1 million, you're not in. So somewhere in between, it changes from yes to no, right? So here's how I came up with what I think a program's worth for you guys. So first of all, assuming, and again, it takes commitment. I'm not going to minimize that. It takes dedication. But assuming you guys have the average results that these guys had, we're looking at about, after 6 to 7 months of this program, $60,000 in net new revenue. Now, as a marketer, I think we can all pretty much assume, or it's fair to say, that a 10x return on your marketing dollars is good. So that's part one. The second part is that you will generate new pipeline. And I am working through this type of effort than if you're just calling a list. So that's basically another 45K, again, assuming average. Some of you might be higher, some of you might be lower. 10x return on that, which means there's the cost. It's actually 10,497.97. So what have you. So that is sort of how I came up with what this program is worth. So you're looking at roughly a 7-month time commitment, just over 10 grand in terms of total dollar investment. And you say, oh, well, how much time does it take per day? And I'd say, well, I think that since we're all consultants, I can say it depends. But I think the rough answer is you're looking at somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour and a half. Is that about fair?
Sure.
Per day?
Sometimes more, sometimes less.
Sometimes more, yeah, it varies. But again, this is about, and obviously the bulk of the heavy lifting starts off in sort of the beginning until it becomes that habit, and then like everything else, it moves on. So there's your next steps. I have a page just for Microsoft Partner that explains the whole thing. It's got testimonials from Matt on it. I'm yelling at you on it also, so what have you. Number 2, if you can pull it off, you're my hero, but I figured I'd put it up there anyway. And then, number 1 is the case study, obviously number 3 is and then the last part is, again, you have to really ask yourself. I would love, like as a sales guy, I would love every person to be like, yeah, when can I start? But in reality, as a long-term marketer, I cannot afford to have people in the program who aren't going to execute. Because I need you to be a raving fan the way Matt is at the end. Matt, thank you, got up for me the other day at the QPB, and 2 people told me, like, this guy got up and was like, you got to come to the MCP event. I need that. I want that. Thank you for that. But that only happens if he's happy. So if you're not committed, great. You're not a fit for the program. But if you are, and you think everything else, the stars align, then maybe it's worth it. So with that, I invite you to my blog, and more importantly than that, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your attention. I thank you for your permission. I thank Mo and for the opportunity, and Matt for putting everything together. And I think we have time for Q&A or whatever, but obviously I thank you guys for the opportunity this morning.